I have a pair of ostrich skin boots here, and what's unique about these, one, that they're handmade. They have a tag on them called Hilton Allen of Houston, which I'm not sure if they're still in business. But you got a full quill ostrich down below, and then you have a smooth ostrich skin up at the top, and that's what makes them unique. Usually you'll see like a calf leather upper, because a lot of the time it's covered with, you know, the jeans or whatever, but you could see it's got all of the ostrich grain in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean and condition these boots, and you can see that inside that grain there is a lot of buildup. I don't know if that camera is going to focus in on that, but a lot of surface dirt has built up inside that. So what we're going to do is hit it with saddle soap at first and just knock a lot of that out, scrub them down, wipe them down, and then hit it with the Bickmore Exotic, put another layer of conditioner on top of it, and then hit it with the Repton cream, and then let them sit overnight. With some saddle soap. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and hit this with water. So I got a lot of that soap off after it sat in there for a little bit. Now I'm going to hit it with the Bickmore Exotic. And I'm going to use the same brush. I'm just going to these little dauber brushes do a really good job in getting inside that grain. Alright, now what we're going to do is just let these sit here for a couple hours, get them to dry, and then what I'm going to do is come back, hit them with the Repton, rub this into the Ostrich, and then we're going to add a little bit of color back into it, as I noticed there were some areas that lost its color, so we're going to put that pigment back in there, and we'll go from there. So our next step is to condition these with the Repton, and this has a lot of the lanolin oil. Okay, so what I'm going to do is knock off a lot of the excess Repton conditioner that I laid on here. I could see a lot of it has built up on here that has dried, so I'm going to use a pig hair brush and knock off a lot of that. There's a lot of crevices inside this ostrich skin, especially in the stitching area, and you could just, this brush does a very good job. I'm getting in there. When this conditioner dries, it really puts on this really hard crust, and it takes a pretty strong brush to knock that out, and then sometimes you just have to keep working at it. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is lay down some cream polish. A lot of the scuffing and scratches on the top, you don't see it as much now after it's been conditioned, but as the boot starts drying out and before it needs to be conditioned, it's going to start showing a lot of lighter marks. So this is just going to put some color back into it. This cream polish is intended for calf leather, but it does a really good job on coloring the ostrich as well. I normally use the either the Saphir, or I also use the Tarago cream. Alright, and now I'm just going to finish it up with a just a piece of nylon. This nylon does a really good job on creating a lot of heat with the friction. We can get a nice shine. Okay, you can see here, this is looking much better. And now what I'm going to do for the next part of this video is I'm going to clean up the heels. Okay, so now what we're going to do is touch up the heels and the midsoles here. So the first thing I do when you see a lot of wear like this on the heel is I'll lightly sand it down with a sanding block. And you'll see what I do here is after. And the next step I do is I use the Phoebing's edge dressing. This stuff is really, really runny. And you can see I got it on the, you always want to have a rag close by, just in case you get it on the upper, just like what I did. It wipes right off. Now if you're doing something with a suede upper, you want to be very, very cautious. And what we're doing is just putting one coat of this on there. And you can see it's, when it's going on, it's very, very shiny, but when it dries, it loses its shine. So, and as you notice, when I sanded it down, it got a little bit lighter. So this is putting that base right back on. Okay, so you can see it has dried and it's not really glossy. It does have some reflection on it, but by any means it's not really glossy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some wax polish to this. And I really like this brand. I've been using it for about a month, and if you follow me, you'll see that I try different brands all the time. So this one does really good. I've been liking it. But what I've been using probably for the last 3 years is the Lincoln stained wax, and that's another one I do recommend. But let me show you how I finish these heels up. Let's see here. What I like to use on heels is just a smaller horsehair brush. What I usually use is the 8-inch, but what I like for speed is a smaller one. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this one, and you'll see how much this can just buff up and shine. You can see here we got a much stronger shine on these. So here's a close-up. You can see here. And let's go ahead and do the other one. So here's before. It's a little dull. We got a lot of wax on there, a lot of wax polish. All right, so this is the finished product. And this is something you could do at your own home. Super easy, but